from this day until your last day.
Why do you think I came all this way?
I couldn't face the pain of losing you, so I ran away. And then I made myself not feel anything.
We can be alone together.
Those are just a few examples that I could think of where the show actually had the writing turn to absolute crap at the last minute, or in the later stages of the show where we couldn't click off because we were already invested for the majority of it and had to see it through, or where they canceled it before it was completed just as it was building up hype, or where they kept milking it forever and ever, amen.
Chug.
Look, I'm not saying we shouldn't watch Western shows or streaming shows at all, but wouldn't it be interesting if we all stopped watching them before they were completed? After having watched the finale of season 2 of House of the Dragon, which is a show that I really do love, I realized something that I just didn't process until now.
What is that?
I think a lot of these showrunners are insulting our intelligence, to be honest.
You think so?
Imagine this, right? Especially in a society now where your effort and quality doesn't need to be at its best because you're having all your stuff streamed on platforms. You're gonna get this money anyway, you're paid ahead of time. What if you built up a story and kept promising at every turn of the story that people were gonna get this badass payoff? And then, at the very last minute, after you've strung people along for many, many, many years using a story from source material that would make the show maybe at most 2 seasons, but you try to stretch it for as many seasons as possible by putting in a lot of filler and telling people they're gonna get a great payoff, and then at the very ending, when people are already hooked, and even if they're mad, if you make mistakes or you mess with the writing, you know they'll keep watching to get those answers, you basically slap very haphazard answers together that don't even have to make very much sense or have a lot of quality, like what they did in Game of Thrones Season 8.
Well, Dany kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and Euron's forces. They certainly haven't forgotten about her.
And the Golden Company has arrived in King's Landing, courtesy of the Greyjoy fleet. The balance has grown distressingly even.
While Dany kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and...
We need to find Euron Greyjoy's fleet and sink it.
I wouldn't be alone. I would have Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal.
Oh, fuck.
Look at what they did with the bear. Fantastic show. And for the entirety of the 3rd season, nothing was happening and we got no payoff whatsoever, and it was just essentially 5 to 6 hours of filler.
Just how tight.
Shows are starting to do this more and more in Western media, specifically with streaming shows. And I joked about AI being better than writers at this point because it seems like writers no longer have any motivation to give quality to their watchers. And if you know that people are gonna get angry but you've already hooked them, you know they're still gonna watch regardless because you have their unadulterated investment. You don't need to try very hard. It's like a relationship. If you know that no matter what you do to your girlfriend, whether you cheat on her, get your ass torn out, go frolicking with the donkeys in your neighbor's yard, and she'll always take you back, why would you strive to be faithful or good to her? You've got her loyalty 100%. So there's no need for you, despite how much you claim you love her and how much those things upset her, to change or be better because she's still going to swallow down your man milk and just be grateful that you're not leaving her. And in a way, maybe subconsciously or consciously, you'll start to end up resenting her and also not respecting her at all. That's what the writers and a lot of showrunners are doing nowadays with their audience. Oh, I made you mad? You didn't like how I bastardized the source material? But I gave you some good bits that made you want to stay around, right? Maybe the stroke game is fire, and because of that one thing that you're invested in, that you're like, damn, that was so good though, I know you're not leaving and you'll be back. You can bitch at me and you can get mad at me and I just have to take it and say, okay, yeah, right, whatever. You can say you're leaving me. Okay, sure you are, whatever. Don't care because I know you'll be back anyway. You'll say all of this, but you'll still be back. And this is the kind of thing that is actually hurting media, I believe. Want to know something? I got burned a long time ago, not with fire, you know what I mean? I got like a really bad experience, and there were these collections of manga. And as an introvert, I wanted to find a library to go to because it's pretty cool. You get to pick these books and you don't necessarily have to buy, but you can choose to buy if you want to. And there were also these like mini libraries by the subway station. It was really cool. And I found 2 manga. I was so invested in these stories, and I was going to read every single one. I can't remember the name of the manga, but the 2 of them were made by the same author, and apparently the author died or something, and so the story was discontinued, or at least that's what I was told. I could not find it for the life of me. I felt so bad about the author dying, but I also felt angry that I wouldn't get to finish the story because I was like in the middle of it. I was invested. It just cut off. Raised by Wolves was a sci-fi show that had me hooked. I loved it. And it got canceled when stuff like Velma did not.
Unfortunately.
Even in the comment section, you have people pulling the attention to the fact that one of the worst series of all time gets a 2nd season, but the best ones get canceled.
It's an evil world we live in.
But way before that, I decided with the anime thing and having been burned by shows being canceled that I would no longer invest in reading a manga or watching an anime or watching a show unless it is concluded, and I don't care how long it takes. If it's still currently airing, I do not want to watch it. There was also a hentai that I'd started watching as well, and there was a good story there and everything, and that got discontinued, or I made a mistake and it wasn't concluded and I thought it was or something. But one thing I despise with all of my being is cliffhangers. And I know that I do that in my writing as well. I know some of you probably point fingers at me and say that I have a nerve to be talking because I left some of my stuff on cliffhangers for years and have yet to return. And I yes, you are right.
Hypocrisy, my friend.
And for that, I would even tell you, don't watch it. You know, not because I don't want you to watch it, but I completely understand that I would only earn your watch if it's thoroughly completed, because I can't even tell you if I'm going back or when. And for that, I completely understand if you choose not to watch it unless it is thoroughly completed. There are some people who want to trust the process and wait and have the story as it's being told, and I completely understand that as well. I'm not one of them, though. I used to be, but I'm nope, not one of them. Until I started dating my partner, he loved to watch shows and they were being aired, or as they were being aired, because it gives him something to talk about with people, and he has a sense of being in the here and now and finding something to relate to and all that jazz, as he is experiencing it at the same time everybody else is experiencing something. He's the same way with games. If a gaming community starts to die, it's not trending as much as it used to, he just completely falls off. I don't care. I don't care if a lot of people in the community aren't playing it anymore or watching something. If I find a good game or show or what have you, I'm going to play/watch it. And I'm the same way with shows. But of course, you compromise when you get in a relationship. And so to make him happy, I decided to watch shows with him. And I hate waiting every week. Oh my freaking God. Old brother likes the routine of knowing that we have something to look forward to together. And then we get stuff like what happened in Game of Thrones.
Have you shot your final scenes yet? And are you happy with how things ended? Yes. She didn't say yes. You didn't say yes.
Best season ever!
It's the best.
If you could describe the season finale of Game of Thrones in one word, how would you describe it?
Disappointing.
Damn.
I tell him I don't want to watch any more sci-fi unless the show is concluded, and then we get stuff like what happened with Raised by Wolves.
Engines!
Negative. Overridden.
Come on, engines! Get on fucked up now!
And at some point, we argued about this because it really hurts my soul. And people might make fun of me for this, but can you consider something for a second, right? We all have a limited amount of time on this planet. One day we're all going to get old. Time is going to be even more precious than it is now. Do you really want to spend 8 years of your life that you can never get back investing in something that you don't get a return on? And I don't mean money. What you invest in is a world that is a journey. It's almost as though you're able to travel to that story and have it to hold on to become your experience. And can you imagine you spending all that time doing that? And then the people who are telling the story slap you in the face and give you a shit ending. And it's not even like an ending that you're just like, when's the ending I would choose? You can tell it was lackluster. And the reason why a lot of that is happening right now is because they can get away with it. While they're streaming it, they're already paid. If they suddenly lose interest and don't feel like really putting in a lot of effort or quality to the ending, the show right, and giving the fans the respect they deserve, they've gotten their money. They can just say, well, fuck you fans, and move on to the next thing. Like Dan and Dave did with Game of Thrones. I will never let that go.
Episode to 3 of our good friends who are writers, very smart people. And at the very end, we looked at them and said, okay, what do you got? And they're kind of looking at each other, they're kind of embarrassed, and one of them said that we had messed up the most kind of obvious storytelling possibilities.
Like, if you mess this up, it's all going to go away.
I see. It didn't come out good?
No, we made every possible
We've never
mistake.
done this before.
How many millions of dollars do you think they wasted on ridiculous faith in you guys?
Could almost call it foolish faith.
Most foolish faith. How many millions of dollars do you think they wasted on you guys?
Yeah, we're not going to answer that.
You can't answer.
You sure you want to do this live?
Absolutely. Of course I want to do it.
It's kind of like a personal.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I love the show. I'm so sad that it's wasted on you guys. So I appreciate it. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Yep, it was HBO's fault for choosing them. They didn't know what they were doing. They put too much faith in them. I like how they just, gave up all accountability. That was freaking hilarious. And the people in the comments are they hate them with a passion. If they know they're going to have your subscription money anyway, or they're getting paid ahead of time in these platforms, then why would it matter? They get away with it. They make a boatload of money, and then all the other shows start doing the same thing when they see the success of something, and somebody in my comment section actually said that. Despite how angry the fans were and saying it was a disaster, this person legit told me that I had a warped sense of success because the franchise made a boatload of money, and so did the people who worked on it. And if that's the only lens that people are measuring success by, with how much money they can sucker out of us, why should we keep giving them our time? And I'm sorry, quite frankly, why would they respect us then? Why would they respect our money? There's a reason why all my free time, all the free time that I have, or the little free time that I do have, I will choose, if I can, if I'm just spending time on my own, to go back and watch stuff like Berserker and anime that's actually finished, because I know I'm going to get a payoff. And even if I'm watching an anime that's currently airing, I trust Eastern entertainment way more than I do Western entertainment, because they still have this very lost thing called pride. Pride in their work, pride in how they're seen by their community, pride in their craft. Western media is moving away from that. Maybe some of them are trying to change some things, but let's be honest, with what we've been seeing, you've all noticed the declining quality. And it's because they no longer respect us as the audience, and you know this because when we call them out, they insult us and call us toxic for critiquing the fact that the quality is declining. So yeah, I completely understand from people's point of view like mine, if you're in a relationship or you have a friendship or you're required to review things, so you must watch things as they're aired. But if you really want to make good use of your time, I would say to wait until a story is concluded. That's what we used to do. Notice how on Steam, now you're getting early access to games that are not finished, but they're still charging us full game prices at $60 freaking for an early access game that's 20% done. Now you're paying a subscription to games, you're paying a subscription or to platforms and to programs that you will never fully earn, where you could probably 5 to 10 years ago buy something and it's yours, you have a hard copy or you have the license for it forever. Now it's well, we want to suck you guys out of your money so you continue paying to use it, and that means that they can decrease the quality if they need to. Because what if an update comes out? How many updates have come out or not come out at all and you're still paying just for access to that thing? And this is the reason why piracy has gone up so much. I can't even blame people, to be honest, because why would they waste their money? They're already wasting their time, so then they're gonna waste their time and their money on top of it. One of those things gotta give at least. I understand that making shows and movies is very expensive. They were in the past as well, but the difference is people had higher quality. They made things of better quality in the past. I could go back many years ago when they had these old shows like Star Trek Enterprise, which I'm enjoying right now, that I will always talk about highly, and that feels, even though the VFX are shit, the story, the character development, the world building, the dialogue, the actual issues, and people coming together and trying to unite based on their differences as well, things that they have to work out and compromise for, that is still better written and well executed than a lot of these shows today that cost way more money than they would have even if they were released back in those times. So while streaming was meant to be a good thing, I think it can also be a very bad thing. Everything wonderful that is created usually ends up being used as a weapon or corrupted at some point in time until it swings back around. I think they even mentioned this in Jurassic Park.
Look, you have to believe me, this was a stupid decision, but I did it with the best intentions.
Best intentions. Some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions.
So yeah, I'll tell you guys about movies and streaming, or not necessarily movies, but more so shows and streaming series that I tell my brothers about women. Live your life, have your fun, but for crying out loud, guard your heart. Expect to be disappointed and be ready to move on when you are.